known as the mayor of Knuckle City. My fists bring urban renewal to dudes' heads.
You dig, I dig, together we're done.
In that particular one, they tried to attack my mother.
What really happened to Ralph Carter? Why did the star from Good Times seem to disappear from Hollywood so quickly? Were there hidden struggles or dark secrets that led him to say goodbye to Hollywood forever?
Watch this, Janette.
It feels so good to be back with my Good Times family. Hi, JJ.
We love you.
Many fans wonder why someone so talented and loved would leave it all behind. What secrets are finally coming to light about his life and career? Let's uncover the truth about Ralph Carter's story.
I'm from Brooklyn, so I come from a family of 7 altogether on my mother's side. Then my father has another crew too, so we are a unit as well.
Ralph Carter is a name that fans of Good Times will recognize instantly. He played Michael Evans, the quick-witted, clever younger brother on the popular 1970s TV show. Michael's one-liners and his bright personality made him a fan favorite. But Ralph Carter's story goes far beyond the screen.
Known as the mayor of Knuckle City. My fists bring urban renewal to dudes' heads.
Born in New York City on May 30th, 1961. His childhood wasn't easy. His father left when he was young, which meant he had to grow up quickly. Even as a kid, he carried a lot of responsibility, which may have been part of what pushed him toward acting. By the age of 9, Ralph was performing on Broadway in the play The Me Nobody Knows, and he impressed everyone with his talent. His career was taking off, even at such a young age. Behind his big smile, Ralph faced a lot of struggles. Just as his fame was starting to grow, he went through one of the hardest times of his life. His father passed away. This left a deep mark on him, and he said in interviews that he still feels that loss today. Growing up as an only child, Ralph didn't have siblings to lean on, and that made things even tougher. He kept working, singing, and acting, but his life felt lonely. Even though he was talented and had so many fans, something felt off. The pressure to succeed started to weigh him down, but he never gave up.
Yeah, what, you were on Broadway? I mean,
Yeah,
age 9 is when you started?
Yeah, I started in a production called The Me Nobody Knows. And
Offers from Hollywood kept coming his way, but Ralph didn't take just any role. He was waiting for something special. Then a big opportunity came along thanks to Norman Lear, a famous producer behind many popular TV shows like Sanford and Son and Maud. Lear was known for creating shows that told real stories about people's lives, especially stories about families. One of his ideas was Good Times, a show that focused on the struggles and joys of a black family living in a poor neighborhood. Ralph was cast as Michael Evans, the youngest son in the family. Good Times was different from other shows. While a lot of TV focused on flashy, glamorous stories, Good Times showed the ups and downs of family life, especially in tough times. One of the strongest parts of the show was how it portrayed family bonds. The character of Florida Evans, Michael's mom, was played by Esther R, who wanted her character to have a husband on the show.
There is dignity in all work. It's not the kind of work you do that gives you dignity.
She felt it was important for people to see a strong family unit, with both a mother and father raising their kids together. Esther insisted on this because she believed it was a positive message, one that went against the negative stereotypes often shown on TV. Ralph's character, Michael, was the youngest in the family, but Ralph himself wasn't new to hardship, having lost his father, so he often felt like an outsider. On set, however, he found a father figure in John Amos, who played his on-screen dad, James Evans. John Amos became a supportive and caring presence for Ralph, helping him feel at home on set. This sense of family that was so real on screen was also something Ralph found in real life with his fellow cast members. They became like family to Ralph. He once said, "I find it very difficult not to respond to love, and this warmth from the cast made him feel part of a team." Ralph learned that a show's success doesn't have to come with drama and fighting. Instead, a group can get along and work well together. This environment made Ralph excited to go to work each day, always looking forward to the next day on set.
I was fortunate to be in the explosion not only of African American theater in the 1970s, but into that same wave of consciousness and beautiful television.
Ralph was the third actor cast, even before Jimmy Walker, who played his older brother. J.J. Ralph played Michael, the militant midget, as he was nicknamed. Michael often questioned authority and wasn't afraid to speak his mind, which made him stand out. But being a young star on a big TV show wasn't always smooth. Ralph dealt with fan attention, but he also faced hate mail, which was tough to handle at such a young age. Some people didn't like seeing a young black boy so outspoken on TV. Producers believed that Carter would be the breakout character of the show, not only because he was cute and looked younger than his age, but also because it would be humorous yet poignant that a child would be espousing such zealous viewpoints. Carter was appearing on Broadway in the musical Raisin when he caught the eye of Good Times' producers, and Lear bought out the remainder of his contract to enable him to appear on the series, as evidenced in the ending credits of the first season. In many ways, Ralph's real-life beliefs matched his character, Michael's strong stance against racial injustice. Michael would often speak out on the show, bringing up important issues. For instance, he once criticized a school IQ test, calling it a white racist test, in that was made, given, and graded by white people.
Mama, they don't know it, but that IQ exam was nothing but a white racist test.
Michael's fiery speeches were part of what made his character so memorable, and they reflected some of Ralph's own views about racial inequality at the time. Word on the street is that there were some tensions behind the scenes, especially with his co-star Jimmy Walker, who played J.J. Evans.
Tough enough time being me as it is, you know? You can never be me anyway. Now look here, Michael, you get back on that horn and you tell that girl the truth.
Come on, JJ, man, you're not gonna...
Some say that Ralph and Jimmy didn't always see eye to eye. Over time, Ralph's character, Michael, went from being a militant young activist to a more toned-down version of himself, likely due to creative changes in the show. Initially, Michael's role was to represent a black man who stood up for what he believed in, but as the show progressed, the focus on his militant side faded. Ralph faded on us. Some fans even said, Ralph faded on us. It seemed like he had simply stopped working in show business. Outside of acting, Ralph also dreamed of a music career. In 1976, he signed with Mercury Records and released his first and only album, featuring songs like Extra Extra and Young and in Love.
When you're young and in love.
The album found some success, but Ralph's music career didn't take off as he'd hoped. Soon after, he decided to focus more on acting. But like all good things, Good Times had to come to an end. After more than 5 years on the air, the show wrapped up. This was a sad moment for Ralph, as he had grown close to his castmates and the family they portrayed on screen. He found it hard to land more acting roles after the show. Many other child actors from the 1970s faced a similar struggle. Once they were known for one role, it became difficult for casting directors to see them in new characters. Ralph, too, found it hard to move forward in his career. While people were wondering why his acting career ended so suddenly, some say he wanted a quieter life, preferring to focus on his family. Others think Hollywood may have pushed him away because he didn't fit their expectations. Rumors even suggest that Ralph might have been blacklisted, which means certain people in the industry could have secretly agreed not to give him work. Some say he had serious disagreements with producers and executives during his time on Good Times, which may have hurt his chances for future roles. For actors like John Amos and Esther R, the end of Good Times also meant fewer job offers. They pointed out that the attitudes and behaviors written for some character and others did not match real-life experiences in the Black community. When the show first started, we had no African-American writers on the show, and some of the attitudes they had caused me to say, we can't do this. They found it frustrating that the writers, who were mainly white, did not understand the realities of Black life. They pointed out Amos would often challenge them, asking, "How long have you been Black?" That just doesn't happen in the community.
I wasn't the most diplomatic guy, like I said, in those days, and they got tired of having their lives threatened over jobs.
They felt the scripts didn't portray the true Black American experience and thought he had a better understanding of it than the writers did. It makes sense. Who better to write about the life of a Black family than someone who lived it? The writers did not understand the importance of representing a black family accurately. Many folks noticed that the writers were focusing too much on Jimmy Walker's character, JJ, who was all about making jokes and being funny, instead of highlighting the aspirations of his other two children on the show, Thelma and Michael. Amos felt that Thelma, played by Bernadet Stannis, and Michael, played by Ralph Carter, had so much potential to represent black youth aiming for great things, like becoming a Supreme Court justice or a surgeon. Instead, the focus was mostly on JJ's silly antics, which Amos thought was a disservice to young viewers. He said he wasn't jealous of JJ's popularity, but felt it was wrong to show that Thelma and Michael's dreams didn't matter. Eventually, the producers grew tired of the tension and decided it would be easier to let Amos go. They said, "Tell you what, why don't we kill him off? We can get on with our lives." Amos learned a tough lesson from this experience. He realized he wasn't as crucial to the show as he thought he was. Amos was still let go after the third season.
So that taught me a lesson that I wasn't as important as I thought I was to the show or to Norman Lear's plan.
Meanwhile, the actress who played Florida, Esther R, had her own struggles. She stayed on the show for that season, but eventually decided it was time to leave. The writers were kinder to her character than they had been to James. They wrote her off by having Florida remarry and move to Arizona, leaving the Evans children to handle life on their own. This change in the family dynamic shifted the tone of the show. As the fifth season began, the show focused on the remaining Evans kids as they tried to live without their parents. But it didn't help ratings, which began to fall. Before season 6 started, CBS and the show's producers knew they had to act fast to save the show. Steve Mills, a CBS vice president, stated that the show lost its essence without parental guidance. They listened to feedback from viewers and realized they needed to return to what made the show special. Esther R agreed to come back, but she had conditions. She wanted more money and better storylines for her character. The excitement of her return brought a sense of hope to the show, but sadly, it wasn't enough to boost ratings. Despite Rowley's return, CBS decided to cancel Good Times during the 1978 to 1979 season. The series finale, titled The End of the Rainbow, wrapped things up nicely for the characters. JJ finally got his big break as a comic book artist. He created a character named Dino Woman, inspired by Thelma. Meanwhile, Michael went off to college.
Well, Ma, now I'm moving up and I'm moving out. I'm getting my own.
As Ralph became an adult, his career in showbiz continued to struggle. He began working in nightclubs, performing at places like Sweetwater's, a popular spot back in the day. However, these gigs did not provide a stable income, and Ralph found it hard to make ends meet. He had a family to support, his wife and 2 kids, which added more pressure. Without steady work in entertainment, he unofficially retired, even though rumors about his financial troubles popped up now and then. Ralph also opened up about how he dealt with hate mail during his days as a child actor. In interviews, he shared that he used to receive negative letters from anonymous people. This affected him at first, but he soon learned to ignore it, showing strong resilience for someone so young. Many actors today struggle with similar challenges, but Ralph pushed through with strength and dedication. Aside those in recent years, Ralph's name has come up in connection with some difficult rumors. One woman, who stayed anonymous, accused him of using his position of power in a way that made her uncomfortable. While the details are unclear, the story suggested that she might have been someone who worked closely with him. The story made headlines for a while, though the issue seemed to get resolved without major consequences. There have also been rumors about Ralph's health. Some people speculate that he may be dealing with an illness, possibly HIV, because of how he looked in recent interviews. Some people have speculated about his sexuality, suggesting he might be gay. Back in the 70s and 80s, being openly gay wasn't always easy, especially for someone like Ralph trying to transition from a child star to an adult actor. Ralph has never confirmed or denied these rumors, which has only made people wonder more. Was he staying quiet out of fear, or was there simply no truth to the gossip? Either way, Ralph's 2 marriages and 5 children make these rumors seem unlikely. He married his first wife, Lisa, and they spent 5 years together before deciding to part ways. However, love wasn't finished with Ralph yet. In 1994, he met River York, and their connection sparked something new. Soon after, Ralph and River built a family together. Their son Phoenix was born in 1995, followed by daughters Jessica and Vivica. In total, Ralph has 5 kids, showing he clearly has a soft spot for big families. Another rumor suggested Ralph had HIV, with some even linking it to assumptions about his sexuality. This gossip was only fueled by the fact that he worked on Broadway, which some people mistakenly think is mainly associated with gay performers. There have even been wild rumors over the years claiming that Ralph had died, but that was proven false when he recently appeared on the Breakfast Club podcast with the Good Times cast, looking very much alive. Ralph Carter hasn't commented on any of these stories. Instead, he seems to let people say what they want, without worrying too much about the gossip. While some folks may think that Ralph's involvement in activism for the African American community was just a way to keep out of the spotlight, Ralph himself sees it differently. He's spoken about being part of a big movement in the 70s that celebrated African American talent, both in theater and on TV. Was he deeply passionate about the cause, or was it a way to avoid fame? It's hard to say, but he stayed committed to supporting his community either way. In 2000, Ralph made a brief comeback on the show E! True Hollywood Story, where he shared memories of good times. He later appeared in a theater production called Ain't Supposed to Die a Natural Death in 2006. In that same year, he reunited with some of his Good Times co-stars at the BT Awards. Even though Ralph has not acted much since the 1970s, his love for the art remains strong. At over 60 years old, Ralph is still going strong. These days, his main focus is to inspire the Black community to get involved in acting and performing in front of big audiences. Ralph wants people in his community to feel confident on stage and to know that their talent matters. Ralph is the vice president of the Odello Award. This award was created just for Black performers who often don't get recognized by famous award shows like the Oscars. While the Oscars are prestigious, they've had their share of scandals. Sometimes people accuse them of giving awards to celebrities who might not be the best role models. Ralph wanted the Odello Award to be different. He wanted it to truly celebrate talent and be a safe space where Black performers could shine. Outside of his professional life, Ralph keeps things simple. He lives in a modest apartment in New York City where his neighbors are friendly and look out for him. Ralph's career was shorter than other stars, so his net worth isn't as high. It's estimated to be around $1 million, mostly from his early acting days. Now that he's focused on helping other performers, that number may have changed. Despite his busy schedule, Ralph has tried to keep a balance in his life. While he has had relationships and has been in the spotlight, he always found time to give back to others. Now his goal is to make things easier for young Black performers so they can succeed without facing the challenges he went through.
That means we can all have free season tickets to Chicago Bears game.
Aside from Ralph Carter, let's change gears and briefly look at what some of the main actors did after Good Times ended. Starting with Jimmy Walker, who played JJ the eldest, Evan's son, who was always saying dynamite. People loved his humor and crazy outfits. After Good Times, Walker continued to work in comedy. He toured as a stand-up comedian and appeared on many TV shows, keeping audiences laughing with his signature style. Though he didn't land any major roles like JJ, he stayed active in entertainment, making guest appearances on shows and talking about his Good Times experience. Walker still performs comedy and is active on social media, sharing his thoughts on life and entertainment. Esther R played Florida, the strong and loving mother who always kept the family together. She was a grounding force on the show. After Good Times, R continued acting in movies and on TV. She appeared in The Mighty Quinn with Denzel Washington and other films where she often played wise, motherly roles. She loved acting and believed it was important to show strong Black characters on screen. Sadly, she passed away in 1998, but she is still remembered for her powerful role as Florida Evans.
Yeah, well, I just undecided for you. So you got a full-time job right here in this house. You ain't putting in time in nobody's kitchen.
John Amos played James Evans, the hard-working father. However, he left Good Times after the 3rd season due to disagreements with the producers about the direction of the show. He believed the family should be shown with more respect, especially with the struggles they were facing. After leaving Good Times, Amos went on to have a successful career. He starred in popular shows like Roots and appeared in movies, including Coming to America with Eddie Murphy. Amos continued acting in both TV and film until he passed away in 2024.
6'2", shoulders out to here.
Janette Dubois played Willona, the Evans' funny, stylish neighbor. After Good Times, Dubois continued to act and also started a singing career. She even won 2 Emmy Awards for her work on another show, The PJs, an animated series. Dubois also wrote and sang the theme song for The Jeffersons, which became one of the most memorable TV theme songs ever. She passed away in 2020, but she left a big mark on TV with her talent and unforgettable personality.
The ring back, man.
Oh, Daddy, that's unfair. He has no right to give my ring back.
Bernadet Stannis played Thelma, the only daughter in the Evans family. She was known for her beauty and for being smart and responsible. After Good Times, Stannis continued to act, though she didn't find roles as big as Thelma. She appeared in some TV shows and independent films. Besides acting, Stannis also wrote books about relationships and self-respect. She has shared her experiences from Good Times and has given advice to young people. Today, she's still active and connects with fans on social media, sharing stories and memories from her time on the show.
Hello, new tricks.
Oh, by the way, I guess I owe you some thank you for getting me my...
Johnny Brown played Bookman, the building's funny but often clumsy superintendent. After Good Times, Brown continued to work in comedy and television, appearing in shows like The Flip Wilson Show. He also did voice work and appeared in some movies. Brown enjoyed entertaining people and made people laugh until his passing in 2022. He is remembered as a talented comedian who brought humor to every role he played. Back to Ralph Carter, whose real legacy is his talent. He brought so much heart to his role as Michael Evans on Good Times, making people laugh and think at the same time. He deserves appreciation not only for his acting, but also for his support of the African-American community. No matter what people say, Ralph's work continues to stand the test of time, and his contribution to TV and culture is something that can't be ignored.